In this episode, we are apparently attempting to break our record for shortest previews episode ever. Is there anything good in the catalog worth checking out? Keep listening to find out. This is Scott Reed, and I'm joined on this episode by
Mike Atchison
and Shad Schubert.
And I guess before we jump into next phase, has anybody got any hot takes on anything they've done comic or pop culture wise they want to comment on? I do, if you don't.
Well, I just told you a second ago, so I guess that counts. I got to go to that Kevin O'Neill estate sale at Gosh Comics when I was over here in the UK, and that was cool. It's just a lot of it's just the novelty that there were some things that were his. Kind of get an insight into the type of art that he maybe studied or was interested in. So yeah, it's been kind of fun exploring different shops and areas in London and UK in general.
And of course, seeing the lamppost for Chronicles of Narnia.
Absolutely, yeah. That's something I happen to know some people that probably, or at least I know the father of somebody that would probably really like to go there.
Yeah.
It's something you have to experience in person too. It's amazing, that little town. Yeah.
Shad, you had anything?
No, nothing on my end.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say I did go see The Creator this week. The reason I went and saw that was because of the ties to Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not disappoint. So I wish as much effort were put into storytelling in the Marvel and DC movies as was put into this movie. So I do highly recommend this movie. So if you're looking for something to go see, special effects are excellent. They don't get in the way. They're not over the top. It's just really, really good and excellent story. So,
yeah. Good. I actually walked by the theater that had that playing last weekend. The cinema. Yeah.
Ah, okay. And I think it's even something that if you have a significant other who can stomach sci-fi, but is not a big sci-fi person because it is so story driven, there's a story there that is easy to get into. So it's just as an FYI. So
awesome.
All right, well let's dig right in. I'm so unprepared apparently that I forgot to open up the Next Phase catalog. So let me open that up first. But I do know I want to start with Ahoy. Does anybody have anything? I think that's anything early in Ahoy before Project Cryptid?
Nope.
I do. Wait, it's not early. It's early-ish. It's page 7 of Next Phase.
Ah, okay. So go ahead.
And I'm trying to find the tab where I had this, but basically it's Wrong Earth. We could be heroes, but it may be we can be heroes. I don't know, because the solicited says one thing and the title says the other on the actual cover of the book. But it's issue number 2, so I don't remember talking about issue number 1 last
Did it
month.
say issue number 2? I didn't have down issue number 2. I
It
just
says
said
2 on the image, which is also questionable. So.
okay, all right, because it's not the final art.
That's the issue. Okay. Well, if that was something you were going to bring up, I apologize.
No, it is, but it was. I was actually going to bring up page 6 first, but I apparently in my download of Next Phase. Oh, there it is. Okay, I was saying my download hadn't finished yet, so I couldn't open it up yet. But on page 6, you got Project Cryptid, which apparently in issue number, what issue number is that?
4.
4, thank you, because I'm still scrolling to get to it. We've got Mermaids and the Beast of Gévaudan. So apparently this takes place in the French countryside. So Mike, while you're there, I just need you to jump across the channel and go find out some more about in the southeast of France. So I want you to get right on that. Maybe you can jump over there now and report back at the end of the episode.
I am, yeah, all right. Well, you're taking the joke really even farther than I was. I was going to say, hey, I'm right on the English Channel. It's just basically taking a barge in, or a ship in your or no, it's a train that you drive onto, and then you go through a tunnel into France. But that's the northwest of France, not the southeast. So I would be quite a bit farther than what I could probably go.
Oh, that's all close together over there. It'd only take you 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. That's what I told people over here. My friends from the States say, hey, while you're over there, as if I was like in a, 25-mile radius of everything.
Yeah, you're just 25 miles from Sweden, 25 miles from Poland, 25 miles from Italy, aren't you?
Yeah. You say Project Cryptid. When I first read it, my dyslexic brain said crypto, and I thought that is an interesting take on the name crypto. So I'm glad you pointed that out.
I have been ordering these for the shop, just FYI. So if somebody's, got some interest in cryptids, and of course that's a focus of Muddy Monster. So
issue 2 is out now?
Yes. And I've been trying to get the variant covers as well, order enough to get some variants. So they're weird. It's like 1-3 variants. So they're not hard to get.
Okay.
And then back to that Wrong Earth, we can be heroes, depending on which one it is. Art by Jamal Igle. We absolutely need to mention that. So, All right. So that's all I have for Ahoy, which surprisingly I have as much for Ahoy as I do some of the larger publishers this time.
I don't have anything until DC.
Yeah, me neither. I don't have anything until page 41, which is 14 in the DC catalog. So.
Yeah, I made the mistake of looking at the DC catalog separately.
Okay, so it's page 14 of the DC catalog, but
okay.
But do you have anything in CEX or AWA or
nothing? No, the next thing I have was page 238 with Scout, but we'll.
Okay, so we got a little bit. Yeah. All right, so let's just go on to DC. While we're going there, have you read the first issue of the Madness yet, Mike?
No, I don't even have it yet because I left before, I think. Oh, no, maybe I do have it at home. No, I don't.
Okay, I haven't read it either, so I was just curious if you'd read it yet or not. So
honestly, I don't. I have not, but I can't remember if I have it or not either. So now you want to go look in my stack here because it seems like I would have packed it.
Well, DC and Marvel feel like they're nothing but crossovers this month. So, which leads to the shortness, I think, of what this episode is going to be. With DC kicking off, was it Beast Wars? Is that what it is? Beast World?
Beast World. Yeah.
Beast Worlds. Okay, all right. So, still have Beast Worlds going on inside of DC, which I just don't have any interest at all. So.
Yeah, I don't have. I mean, most of what I have is just kind of like commenting on previous runs. In DC.
So page 14, the DC catalog got Batman 141 still. Chip Zdarsky, the stunning conclusion to Mind Bomb. So hopefully that means this is also the last of Zur and R. We'll see. And then, of course, anytime it's a conclusion of a run, the question is, will Chip Zdarsky be starting a new run, or will they be bringing in a new creative team? So we don't have the answer to that as far as I know. But be interested to see if 142 is still Chip Zdarsky or not. He tends to stick around for a while, so I would suspect we'll get another Zdarsky run. But
whether the artist will stay with him.
Right. So my next thing's not till 25.
I'm not till 37, actually.
Wow. So, okay. Well.
And I'm converting to DC.
Okay, so it's 54. 54 is where I'm
54.
At.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
I was just maybe the same thing you were. Is just there's a new character alert on the Flash number 4. A new character titled The Resident. So keep an eye out if that's important.
I do appreciate DC putting these little alerts that it is something that is a new character, as long as they've skipped it sometimes when there's been new characters. So I wish they would be consistent with it, but when they do stick it on there, it's nice to see it. So
sometimes if I catch it in the little synopsis, I feel like I won a prize because they didn't announce it with the little bomb thing, but I still caught it because I read.
Yep. It's like we should get a free issue or something.
Are we referring to the DC catalog?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or to the next phase catalog?
the DC catalog, because the next phase just prints it in there, so they just reprint the
Right.
the DC catalog.
But when we refer to page numbers, which do you want me to refer to?
It doesn't matter. I'm referring to both. So like I'm on page 54, next phase 25 DC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's strange because I'm on page 8 DC is what I meant to say earlier. Page 37, next phase. So
Okay.
So what I have is Kneel Before Zod, #1 by Joe Casey and Dan McDade. I remember Joe Casey from back in the 90s on Adventures of Superman run.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know Dan McDade, or at least I don't remember any of his art, but Zod's probably one of my favorite Superman villains. He's got a lot of charisma and badness, so I'll probably pick this up. I'm not sure. It doesn't say what it's series or if it's ongoing, but I can't imagine it would be ongoing.
I looked at this art and it feels like it should be Kneel Before Zod, the animated series, the way the art is. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's a different style. I feel like it's I don't know, not quite in the style of like typical comic book, what typical DC would be, so it just kind of throws me a little bit.
Yeah. It doesn't line up very well with the cover art, if that's the final cover art.
Right. Well, the cover is Jason Shawn Alexander.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with just Jason Alexander. All right. So we're still in the 25s to 30s, Mike. So I think you got some more stuff in DC.
Page 20 in the DC catalog is Superman #9. The reason I bring it up is apparently he had something happen is causing him to need to have super armor. And it made me think, why would they have not taken the opportunity to bring back the Supermobile from the late 70s?
Oh,
that was so cool. That he had to have because he had lost some of his powers. So lost opportunity, I think.
It's kind of like
right
the Fighting Mobile.
Yeah. Right after that is this World's Finest #22 by Wade. I still stick to my stance that Wade should just take over almost everything in DC. Maybe just be editor-in-chief and start guiding things, because right now this latest story arc is returning us to the world of Kingdom Come, and I think of this as just the second issue of that story arc, but I look forward to reading it.
I forgot to order issue 21. I need to make a note to see if I can get that on FOC. So.
Oh yeah.
Because I wanted to read this world. I wanted to read the Kingdom Come stuff, so I forgot all about it.
Yeah. The last thing I have before Shad mentions the Flash is Action Comics #1060, only because it's including Constantine the Demon and a 90s hero called Bloodwind, sort of a supernatural. I'm interested to see what Bloodwind looks like in this story. He had sort of a convoluted origin. He was actually Martian Manhunter in disguise in the Justice League right after the Bwahaha iteration, but he ended up becoming his own character, I think. I just never followed up on it, but just enough good old nostalgia to bring me into this issue. And I'll shut up for a minute.
You don't have anything else in DC?
Oh, okay. All right. So on a 45 in the DC catalog, unless you have something before 45, Mike.
I thought Shad was going to bring the Flash, or did
we already
you
talked about the Flash?
Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
So JSA, I only want to mention on page 27. It's just the 10th issue, but it's again these Tony Harris covers. That guy has not lost any of his edge since the Starman in the 90s. And then on page 36, you got the Batman facsimiles of issues 404 and 407, which was Batman Year One. So I've got those in a couple different. I got the originals, and I got a couple different collections. But if someone doesn't have the originals or doesn't have them at all, I would definitely recommend picking these up because it's Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli, pretty much at the peak of their powers.
Page 39, we got Peacemaker Tries Hard. This is the Kyle Starks 6-issue series, so they're putting that into trade if you are a trade reader. And then on page 45 is the final issue of Danger Street. So issue 12 of Danger Street. I have read the first 8 or 9 issues of this. It's okay. It's not, it's not blowing me away, but it's all right. So
it's interesting. I mean, I think some of the characters are out of character. I don't think the premise about Warlord and the blue-skinned Mikhail Starman and Metamorpho, what they did to try to get into the Justice League, the whole idea of them trying to impress the Justice League so they can join doesn't make sense. Warlord's not that kind of a character, and Metamorpho and Starman have already been in the Justice League. But again, this is outside of normal continuity, I'm sure, so no harm, no foul, I guess.
Has this Starman been part of the Justice League before?
Yeah, there was a brief run in the late 2000s when James Robinson, who did a lot with that character in the Starman series in the 90s, he was writing the Justice League book, and there were characters like Donna Troy. Nightwing was in the role of Batman. I mean, this might have been during the Batman RIP era. And then you had other obscure characters like Congarilla. It was definitely a weird batch, but it was pretty good though. On that same page though, Scott, is Superman Lost #9. It just caught my eye. I just want to, if you guys aren't reading that, it's by Christopher Priest with art by Carlos Pagulayan and Jason Paz. This is fantastic. It's really, really good. Really kind of delves into the science behind, or the pseudoscience behind Superman's powers and how that would affect him whenever he's far from a yellow sun and the Earth's gravity. And it's just basically his journey back to Earth after being thrown through like a black hole singularity to a place across the galaxy. And he's trying to work his way back, but it's costing him a lot of time. Very good book.
My last thing is actually the back cover of the DC catalog, which is owned now for the first time in 4K Ultra HD, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. So I thought that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so I may there's a few things I like to have on Blu-ray, so I would possibly consider picking this up. I like to watch this every few years, so.
Yeah, we covered that last year, didn't we?
We sure did. So, all right. My next thing is on page 109 in Image. So I don't have anything for Drawn and Quarterly or Distillery.
I'm in Image also, but I'm loading currently.
Okay, well, let's see, I'll just go ahead and talk. 109, and this is just more of a comment about poor design, but we have Bloodrick, all right, and the logo is so illegible that they feel the need to actually put Bloodrick underneath it so that you can actually read what the title of the book actually is. So that is like one of the most 90s looking things I have seen in quite a while. I mean,
well, they're trying to use the like heavy metal kind of like nowadays for the last, I don't know, 15 years or so, like death metal bands, heavy metal bands will use very like wild font like that. So they're going for that, but they're not confident enough in their design work to just let it be. They have to put it in parentheses under there, which that's pretty funny.
Yeah. So it's like, in case you can't read this, here it is.
I want to have a band shirt with like the band's logo on there with this like in print below it, have it just in case.
I know it's crazy the number of times I'll like be going through books and like I cannot decipher what this cover is, and it's always a 90s book. And it's just like, oh, I can't read this, I cannot find the pattern in this, what I'm supposed to be finding. So, but yeah, it's like Liefeld artwork is what it looks like. And it's a definite pass for me, but
yeah, it was.
Yeah, my next thing
before that.
Oh, sorry.
You're okay. At the beginning, is on page 99 is Pete Townshend's Lifehouse hardcover. Pete Townsend of the band The Who. And I did not know that he had written a novel or a screenplay. I mean, but this is what this book, this graphic novel, is based on, is a screenplay he had written that inspired their album Who's Next. The artwork looks really awesome, done by James Harvey and Max Prentice, which was really why I kind of like skipped over. I was like, whatever. I've read plenty of like musicians' screenplays and novels that they've adapted into comics, but the artwork on this was like, this is pretty bizarre. I'm digging this quite a bit. So this might be something to check out.
I knew you'd pick this to talk about. That's why, because I wouldn't mind seeing it myself. I enjoy the Who's music, most of it at least.
Yeah.
And even some of Pete Townsend's solo work. There's some of his. He's got some good stuff. Yeah.
On page 8 of Image, which I'm not sure what page of the next phase that actually is, but it's just the next page after the Who, where the body was the Brubaker Phillips. Was that in single issues previously, or is this just how it's being released straight to?
I think it's just how it's being released. Yeah.
Okay, because I'd skipped over that.
It seems like
I didn't remember seeing this before, so
I don't know if I've seen them release single issues on anything in a long time. I think they're just in the business of collected editions at this point.
And that seems to make sense because they have a little longer shelf life that way. So,
right, yeah.
Let's see. I'm not till 154 now, so
I got 119 just as a mention. It's Duke #1, which is the Image G.I. Joe book that's coming out. So if you're looking for all the Transformer G.I. Joe and how that's going to unfold, make sure and pick up Duke, because it doesn't say G.I. Joe on it, but that is their Joe book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it even says codename G.I. Joe starts here. I thought there was a 302 in this. I thought there was a 302 in this. Was there not another issue of G.I. Joe in here?
I think they had their that legacy book. Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's in here. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I didn't put it down, but I thought I remembered seeing it as well. But you figure they would lean into G.I. Joe Duke, so that way they'd buy each other on the shelves. It's
yeah.
I'm still at 154, so
I've got one more book on 124, but I skipped navigating the digital copy. 124 is Our Bones Dust #1, which I don't love the title, because I feel like there's a missing something in there. Our bones are dust.
Mm-hmm.
Our bones will be dust. Anything. But the premise is an AI in a post-apocalyptic world that is inhabited by cannibal gangs, and so the AI is exploring the world. Which is like, oh yeah, that would be kind of interesting to see the lens through a very safe creature that nobody has an interest in at least eating. They might want to attack it and kill it, but they're not going to kill it for food. So I was like, oh, that's a somewhat neat concept.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out who the main character is, because it starts off with a feral child, but then it talks about a curious artificial intelligence, and all the images are apparently of the curious artificial intelligence, but the cover is apparently of the feral child. So it's like, okay, who is this? Is this about the two of them? Is it about one over the other? Who's the main focus of this story? So,
well, and then I thought, did the AI adapt into a human body at some point in the story? And that's what we see on the cover, is the feral child is actually the AI. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like he's holding a pipe wrench, so maybe I don't know. He's getting ready to use it as a weapon, or if he has to repair the robot. I don't know.
Well, he is equal parts predator and prey, so
Yeah.
just keep that in mind.
I had this down as well, Shad, except my tangled lines of connections between these catalogs had it lost. But yeah, I think that looks it looks pretty interesting to me. I don't know Ben Stembeck, but I heard a lot of good things about Baltimore, a book that he wrote. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah. And that's all I've got for Image.
Okay, so on page 154 of Next Phase, which I did not put the Image page down on that, we have Firepower issue 30, and this is the final issue of Firepower from Kirkman and Chris Samnee. So I did see in Chris Samnee's newsletter a month or so ago that this series was wrapping up, and here it is. So final issue will be out 2 days after Christmas. So apparently Christmas is on a Monday this year.
Yes.
And there's the G.I. Joe issue 302 on the very next page. So.
Yep. And G.I. Joe's dying. This is a funeral for Joe.
Oh,
yikes. Who, a fallen brother, but we don't know who. So, and I actually do have one more for Image, and that's on page 191. So Image has got a lot of stuff in this catalog.
Mm-hmm.
And that is World Tree issue 6. I thought World Tree was going to be a limited series, but apparently it is starting a new story arc here with issue 6. So I've been getting this monthly. Haven't read the first issue yet, but I've been getting it monthly, and guess I need to read it to just pretty quick to decide if I want to read the second story arc or not. So
yeah, I'm picking up this. I'm in the exact same boat as you. I've picked them up, but I haven't read them yet.
So I need to move this to the top of the reading pile at least to get an initial feel for it to see if I want to keep on this series or not. So
before we leave Image, I did have one on page 45 of the Image standalone catalog is Rat Queens Omnibus. I've read the first volume of Rat Queens several years ago. It is really good. I don't know that I want to pay $125 for a big, omnibus to put on the shelf, but it just reminded me of how much I enjoyed that series. So we may have talked about it, but
I don't think so.
I don't remember where I don't think it was just me picking it up to read it. There was some purpose for reading it, but either way, I'll throw out the recommendation.
My next thing is not till 232.
I got a couple of things in Mad Cave.
Okay.
On 194 is Skeeters number 1. One, I like when mosquitoes are referenced as skeeters, so that is a win for me. And 2, this is kind of they say for fans of Slither or Arachnophobia. This is definitely like a comedy horror. We've got an alien invasion by these giant mosquito like creatures. And so the sheriff of a small town and 2 exterminators have to try to figure out how to save the town. So it's set up for definitely a comedy horror kind of thing there, and I'm here for it.
It's got a lot of blood, which makes sense if mosquitoes.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then the next one in Mad Cave, which is on page 196, is Charred Remains, number 1, and this is got art by Andrea, not Andrea. I always mess this up. Help me out. Andrea, yes. I got so close. Moody or Muti or however, which I love his artwork. And this is about a fire that kind of haunts this woman. She swears that she saw the supernatural creature in there, and I just think that artwork just lends super well to horror and especially to flames, and so like all the preview artwork just looks really cool to me for that. So I'm here for that artwork. Other than that, who knows what the story would actually be like. And that's all I've got.
I've got one in Scout Comics on page 238. Do you have anything before then, Scott?
I've got page 232. So
okay.
So 232, let me get there real fast. We have Blood Run #1. Now, believe it or not, the writer, Evan K. Posios, and I apologize if I'm butchering that name, actually reached out to me on my Bird Comics page and asked if I would promote this book. So I figured, what the heck?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this book a plug. So it's basically kind of a Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal meets Death Race story. So it's basically a car crash, bloodbath type of a book. Now, it doesn't tell here if I guess it's this ongoing, but it doesn't actually say ongoing here. But I'm making the assumption that it's an ongoing story. This is 48 pages, full color. So, I guess any of the Death Race books, the car crash type, even, futuristic Fast and the Furious fans might want to consider giving this a shot. I'm gonna pick up at least the first issue myself just to see what it's about. So
that if it's when they say Twisted Metal, I mean obviously there's the video game, but that TV show was really good. I don't know if anybody. I didn't think I was gonna like it at all. I had no reason, and it was like, this is actually really good. I'm surprised. I watched the whole dang thing.
I never played the game, but I had some buddies who I saw them play the game several times. But the series, the first episode, that's the only one I've seen, unfortunately, but it was really, really good. I was surprised how good that series is.
Yeah.
Because it's on Paramount, I think, right?
Yeah,
so I'm not subscribing to Paramount, so I don't want to I don't know. It's like, if I get a chance to pick it up someplace separately, I might, but but the first issue's got Anthony Mackie in it, who was the Falcon and Captain America now, and it was surprisingly good.
Yeah.
And then I am done with Next Phase. So.
Well, before I get to 238, on 233 and 234, if you want a jump the shark moment, our merchandise, you can buy your coffee with Batman or Superman on the 12-ounce bag. So, yeah, I mean, who doesn't love?
They did this, was it last month or month before last? They had like Joker and Penguin or something. Yeah.
I almost bought the Joker one, and then I decided, nah, I don't think so.
How about some Metropolis Mocha?
Yeah.
Or a Dark Knight roast. Yeah, a little silly.
So on page 238 is Maze Agency #1. Now, this was a series that came out in the 90s. The creator, I think, it was creator, Mike W. Barr, who wrote things such as Camelot 3000 and Batman Son of the Demon and The Outsiders and things like that. Pretty prolific writer. Joins forces with artist Silvano Beltramo. So I have not read a single issue of the Maze Agency, but it sort of has a cult following. And I recently listened to a podcast that kind of covered that first set of stories, and it was pretty positive. So I'm assuming this is a new story, the way the solicit is written. So I'm thinking I'm going to pick this up, and I'll report back to the group.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. So anything else for Next Phase?
I think it's time to change phases.
All right. Just change to Marvel this time. I'll try to do things in the correct order this time. So, because that's our alleged agreed upon order was Marvel next. And last time we did this, I completely skipped Marvel to the very end. So, page 2, we have Timeless #1. And I don't know what's going on here. This is just one of those whole futuristic multiverse, whatever things that are just getting really, really old for me. But there are apparently going to be new versions of Power Man and new versions of Moon Knight. So I feel like it's just going to be another combined characters together, and they hope to get lightning in a bottle. But the main reason I'm mentioning this is because of this gatefold wraparound cover. Which just has lots and lots of characters in their more classic costumes. Looks really, really cool. I wish there was a way to have that graded and show like all 4 sections of it, as opposed to just the front and the back, because you're going to miss 2 of the folds. But But yeah, so I thought the cover at least was appealing. And who knows? I mean, maybe Power Man meets Iron Fist meets, I can't remember who they mentioned a third character for the Power Man combination. The Sentry. Oh, that's what it was. Maybe that'll mean something to somebody, but for the most part, story wise, I think I want to skip it, but I'll probably pick it up for the cover.
Yeah, the cover, I'm sure that's been a poster. It's by Alex Ross, so it looks like one of those really wide, poster size, or converted to a poster, but big montage of all of those Marvel characters. It looks really pretty awesome. I agree with you.
I think they maybe did this as 4 separate covers, and then now they're just combining them all together, because I'm pretty sure I've seen some of this part of this image in some of the previous catalogs.
Yeah. I also have to laugh at the contradictory language used in these solicits. This one says it features the debut of 2 new Marvel icons.
Yeah.
So don't you have to be, if you're an icon, don't you have to have been established a bit? So
yeah.
It's like, who's writing this?
Well, Power Man and Moon Knight have been around for a while.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, so
but new and icon.
Yes.
It is. It's a redesign.
Is this the 3rd year of a timeless one shot? Is that?
Yes. The first 2 were very good.
Okay.
I have the first 2.
I've only read the first one. I, for some reason, didn't read the second one, but the first 2 were pretty much Kang. So I wonder if Kang is going to make an appearance here. But notice they don't mention Kang at all. So.
Mm-hmm. And then we get like 12 pages of Moon Knight related stuff, which is interesting since that's a character that never gets mentioned at all whatsoever.
Yeah. And moves to the front of the book.
Yeah. Maybe was there going to be like another Moon Knight series on Marvel or on Disney?
Not yet. Yeah, I don't think it's not. I don't think they've said that it's not going to happen, but they haven't announced Steven filming or anything like that. So, and then after that, from like 13 to 20, you just have Spider-Man Gang War. So it's both, DC, Beast Wars. Marvel's got whatever's going on with Moon Knight, and Gang War taking up most of those catalogs. So, and then the only thing I have to say about Gang War is they have another Luke Cage premiere here with a new costume, and it is awful on page 20. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what.
It's a little rough.
That's a terrible costume. So. So my next thing's not till 36.
Mine's 37. So
that's 53.
All right, so page 36, and I normally would not mention these Marvel Tales because they are just reprints, but we get a ROM and the X-Men Marvel Tales #1. And this actually reprints 4 issues from the ROM story, so this is a hard pass if you're going to be picking up the omnibus. Unless you're just a completist. But it's going to have 2 stories with loose ties to the X-Men, 17 and 18. The big things about those issues originally is it's Rogue's 2nd and 3rd appearance. I happen to be in ROM. and then there's another X-Men crossover in 31 and 32. So, just ROM. I'm picking up the omnibus. Even though I have all these issues, I'm gonna get the omnibus for this and Micronauts, which we'll talk about later. But cheap way, relatively inexpensive way to $7.99 get 4 books, $2 a piece basically. So often those Rogue ones you couldn't find in dollar bins. The other 2 would be dollar bin material, but the Rogue ones are they held a little bit of value. And then my next thing is 53.
I've got there on page 37, right next to what you just mentioned, is Marvel's Voices, Avengers #1. Now, we've had a few Marvel Voices books come out, which again, the cover says Marvel Voices, and then the solicit says Marvels, as in possessive, and it throws me off a bit. But I like to try these out once in a while, A, to support new creators, especially a diverse group. And B, sometimes you get a couple decent stories out of it. I don't know. It's just, I like if I sometimes I'm a little hesitant to pick up a character I'm not familiar with. So I'd rather they not put a new talent on a new character. I'd rather kind of see either old talent or established talent on an obscure character, a new character, or vice versa.
Mm.
So
I'm still at 53.
Good on my end.
You and I are on the same wavelength, Mr.
Okay. All right. Well, page 53, we got the OG X-Men. So, original X-Men #1, the OG5 on an all-new adventure, and this is the third or fourth time that they've gotten the original team back together. I don't know why they don't just call this book X Factor, because that's what they did the first time they got them back together, was just call it X Factor. So, yeah, I don't even know if I'll pick this up, but it was, you missed that original team, and then they hint at this may even be some of the part of the team that was brought from the past into the future when we had like all new X-Men. So it remains to be seen which version of the original 5 this actually is.
Yeah. It caught my eye because I enjoy that version. I like seeing that old title dress, the way X-Men is designed. It harkens back to some good years. It's got Greg Land art, which is a plus. But then when I seen in the solicit, it says, now another multiversal mystery calls them forth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, you're wearing this multiverse stuff out. That throws me off quite a bit.
Yep. And my next thing's not till 75.
I'm done.
I got 65. Just as have to have a Star Wars mention in here. Star Wars Revelations #1, and this seems to be the kickoff point. If I remember right, they did this kind of book at the beginning of when they took over Marvel. They did a similar, or when Marvel took over Star Wars, they did another one when they rebooted everything for their new #1. So I'm wondering if we have a new #1 in our midst for all the titles, because this will kind of cross over all of the different timelines and tell some little stories. It's only 56 pages, so I don't think they're going to do a lot of moving. There's not going to be a lot of giant pieces moving, but maybe some new character setups and things like that in there.
Yeah, that is probably a book. If Star Wars were to get hot again, that would be a book you would want to own, since they are going to bring some characters that are going to be there probably prominently moving forward. So yeah, I missed that. That's a good catch there. So I've gotten to the point where I've kind of skipped over the Star Wars books.
I move faster, but I still hover a little bit.
I haven't even taken the time to watch Ahsoka yet. I know I need to sit down and just watch.
I haven't either.
But I was like, I'm hesitant because I feel like to do Ahsoka justice, I need to have watched Clone Wars and Rebels, and that's what 6-7 seasons of.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. There's like 7 seasons of Clone Wars and 3 or 4 seasons of Rebels.
Oh yeah, that's even more than I thought. So it's like, man, that's like, do I just want to go into Ahsoka without that backstory? Or I know I could, or do I just want to just do it this chronologically? And I just haven't made the decision yet. But either way, it's gonna wait till after Loki. So which started this week as we record. Which I also have not watched the first episode of, so
I have not either.
Yeah, that will probably be done later today. So, all right, page 75. We have last month, I think, or month before last, we had ROM Omnibus. This time we get the Micronauts Omnibus. This is not going to be out till April of 2024, so they're getting in orders early. But they have 4 different covers. I think they only show, so they show all 4 of them. The big one on the second part of the solicit is the Dave Cochran cover. That's from issue 1 of Micronauts. And then the other covers there's a Ditko cover. I think that's actually from Micronauts Annual #1. These other two, the one I'm going to get personally is the Michael Golden cover because he's my absolute favorite artist on Micronauts. I don't think that was ever a cover. I could be mistaken. I don't remember that cover. And then the last one here, the Butch Guice cover, that sort of reminds me of one from the New Voyages, which was the second volume of Micronauts, though I wouldn't swear that that's a direct cover one. So, but yeah, 4 covers for the same material. So it's pretty bad when they have this many variants for a hardcover that costs $125. But it looks like they're going to do that in probably 3 omnibus because we get 29 issues. I think the initial series was 56 issues. So that's going to get us half, and then they'll probably do a 3rd omnibus of the New Voyages, which was the 2nd volume. So,
Gotcha.
So we got 3 of those coming, and I will be the sucker who buys one of each. So
At least you're not the sucker who's buying all 4 of each.
yeah. Though, there's part of me that's like, limited quantities, eh? Sometimes those omnibus will spike in value,
Yeah.
So it's like part of
You
me
could
is
buy them all just to have
Yes.
hands on them and then sell them.
It's like, to quote Homer Simpson, first you get the omnibus, then you get the money. Okay. The only other thing that I have from Marvel, and I don't even see it in the Marvel catalog, I actually saw this on Pullbox, was once a year. They've done this for a few years now. They put out a Marvel calendar that is the size of a comic book. I had the Iron Man 2020 is the last one that I remember seeing. So I'm probably going to order. I think they come in bundles of like 20, so I'm probably going to order a bundle of 20. So if you guys want one, let me know. I'll put one in your pull boxes and or not. Don't worry about it. So I don't see any info on it. I think even on the pull box page, they didn't have any info on the calendar, either what's on the cover or anything like that. But all right, I'm done with Marvel.
Same.
Yeah, same here.
All right, so I have nothing extra from Pullbox. So what do you guys have from Pullbox or previews catalog, whichever way you want to reference this stuff?
Shad, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll start in Boom. And there's a new book in the Slaughterverse called Book of Butcher #1. I don't read anything in the Slaughterverse, the House of Slaughter, or Something's Killing the Children. But I know that that's a big book, and people are interested in it. So I just wanted to mention that Book of Butcher #1 starts. And then also there is a book out of Boom called Stuff of Nightmares: Sleigh Ride #1. From R.L. Stein, who seems to be, he's just holding on. He's doing a great job of I was like, man, there's a new movie that's written by R.L. Stein that's out. Like, he's still writing books. He's got comics now. Like, he's maybe even more prolific than he was in the 90s as a children's horror novelist. But it's about an out of work mall Santa that goes mad and goes on a killing spree, which is kind of a cool concept. It's like as the malls are dying, he thinks people should too, or something like that. Like, right on.
I did just notice that they have a Once and Future Deluxe Edition hardcover from Boom. So that series was good, but it kind of lagged a little in the middle. It got a little bit too overcomplicated. So, but the first volume was excellent. So.
Yeah. Well,
Mike,
I've
got
got.
anything in Boom?
Sorry?
You got anything in the Boom?
No. Well, I'm kind of looking on Pullbox, so it just jumps around. It's under the.
Well, Boom has its own section on Pullbox. It's up at the top.
Oh, okay.
There's a Tom King book as well that I didn't know if you guys would mention at all, but there's a Tom King has Animal Pound #1. It's a 4-issue mini, illustrated by Peter Gross, and it is an animal revolt story where animals grow tired of being caged, killed, and sold off. It's a matter of time before they've had enough. So it's I know we like the Tom King stuff. Generally, we get some good stuff in there, and this is like, okay, animals. This is we liked Stray Dogs, so What
Yeah.
will this book end up being? I'm curious. I probably won't pick it up single issue, but this would be maybe something to collect or check out the collected edition of.
Yeah, I had this marked as well. And it seems to be kind of the theme this month for me. Kind of like last month, it was a different topic that we seemed to be on a particular theme. So I'm looking at under a Blaze Publishing Animal Castle that's been out in several different formats, but now it's under a hardcover Volume 1 solicitation. And I don't know why I haven't picked this up yet. I've talked about it several times, but I've got it flagged, so we'll see what I do. Under Dark Horse, and again, should I be jumping around, or do you want?
No, go ahead. I don't have anything else, so
Okay.
if something pops out to me, I'll cut you off.
Okay.
I'll cut you off. I don't care.
That's right. That's how I roll.
I bring this up. It's Assassin's Apprentice 2 by Jody Hauser, Robin Hobb, and Ryan Kelly. I bring it up because I got the first volume and I enjoyed it well enough. Don't know if I'll get the second volume, but I'm on the bubble on that. There's under Aardvark Vanaheim. Once in a while, you just have to bring up a Dave Sim book. You've got Neil Gaiman's, but not Alan Moore's, Marvel Manvark, with basically it's just more of that satire from Dave Sim. It looks pretty funny. I guess he's done it with the blessing of Neil Gaiman, but maybe no one else. So,
Shad, are you going to get the Cruella de Vil #1 action figure variant cover?
Oh, probably not the action figure variant. No, but I definitely will order the Cruella de Vil. That was the next one I was going to talk about. Was Dynamite's got a new villains book starting out with Cruella de Vil, which seems to be a somewhat of a sequel to 101 Dalmatians, with her trying to restore her reputation after the events of the story. So I have I read. I've read some of the villains ones, but not all of them. They're decent, you know. It kind of scratches that itch of nostalgia for me as a '90s Disney kid, for sure.
Side topic, because I'm seeing some of the toys solicited in Diamond Select. Do we know when Rebel Moon starts?
No, I went to look it up the other day because I thought it was already out. Mm-hmm. And then was like immediately let down that it was like, oh, coming soon.
Okay.
Rebel Moon is December 22nd, 2023.
Okay. What platform? I don't know what platform it's coming. Is it on Netflix?
It's a Netflix movie, yeah.
Okay, and it's a movie. Okay, all right.
Yes.
I thought it was gonna be a series. So.
I think it seems as though it might be a movie. Yeah. It's multiple parts, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Who knows?
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to that because I like Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
And apparently it was a pitch for a Star Wars movie that got rejected, so he turned it into his own thing. Yeah. So it's probably going to be good.
Good on him. Yeah, for sure. The only other thing I had in previews is that there's a company named Alien that I guess has bought Valiant and is now publishing the Valiant books.
Oh.
So Valiant is back alive again. But under the banner of a company named Alien, but they still are using the Valiant imprint.
Okay, I saw a Valiant imprint. I saw like the Eternal Warriors hardcover, and so I just assumed, I guess they're still hanging on. But okay, so there has been a shakeup.
There's been a change of hands, at least on paper.
Okay.
For that.
I'm going to mention one game if I can find it here. Just because it is a single player game. So for those who have a hard time finding a group of people who can share time, this is called Express Route board game. So this is basically you are delivering packages. So, but it's a cooperative game. So 1 to 4 players, and you're trying to coordinate delivery. And I guess, there's solo play and then 20 different scenarios. So it's kind of almost like a puzzle type game where you're trying to solve a particular puzzle. and it doesn't have a price, unfortunately. So it's please inquire on the price. But for those who like the single player option on their games, Express Route something to take a look at. And I'm done.
Same.
All right.
I want to mention Layla Starr. Do you remember the many deaths of Layla Starr? I'm sure you do.
I do, yes.
If you liked it well enough to get the hardcover deluxe edition, it's being offered again, and it's another one of those that I would consider top shelf, and I'd probably put it, on my top shelf. I don't think when we reviewed it, I think I read it online on Comixology. So
Oh yeah.
and I'm tempted to get that. And then lastly is issue 11 this is out of Boom Studios. It's Cy Spurrier and Charlie Adlard's Damn Them All. I only bring up it now because I got to meet those folks along with 2 or 3 other people involved in the including Sophie Dodgson and a couple others. They were doing a signing at that Gosh Comics I was mentioning before, and really seemed to be pretty cool people. And you two actually have a copy that we may have to cover together of that first volume.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So what is everybody looking forward to? Anybody got
I could drum up my most excited, which is not to say a lot excited, just
right.
Out of everything, was probably the Disney Villains Cruella de Vil #1.
If I was gonna bet, that's what I would have bet that you would have said. So, Mike, do you have something that you're looking forward to?
One's an oldie, both are kind of oldies, but can I mention 2?
I guess I'll allow it.
Will you deviate from the main
time.
I want to check out Action Comics 1060 because I want to see what this Bloodwind character that was from the 90s is like now. So I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also looking forward to the Maze Agency. I've never read a single issue of it, but because I've heard so many good things, I want to get it as well.
Well, if Mike can mention 2 things, I guess I can mention 2 things too. But what I'm really looking forward to, obviously, are the Micronauts Omnibus. Even though it's not until April of 2024, it's several months off. But that is a 100% buy, and be proud to display that on the shelf here pretty soon. And then I don't know if looking forward to is the right way to phrase this, but with Firepower wrapping up, kind of get the bookends on that series. I've only actually read about half of that series, so now I can sit down and read the final half of that series. I'll have it all, read it pretty consecutively, which hopefully will, be one of those books that reads well back to back to back to back. So
yeah.
All right. So does anybody have a investment pick this time?
I do.
Okay. Let me guess. Flash.
Yeah, that's why I went first. I tapped into the Speed Force to say that.
I'll do
it. I have to be hit over the head with anything that might be an investment pick, and I'm just the biggest sucker in the world. So yeah, the new character is called The Resident. So you never know. A year from now, it might be the hottest thing ever.
Yeah, there you go. Or probably
True.
not.
Or probably not.
Shad, you got anything that you would consider an investment?
Maybe that Book of Butcher #1, the new entry into the Slaughterverse. If they do something with that, it seems like it expands. It might be a hot book at some point in time. Who knows?
All right. And I'm going to say there is no book worth picking up in this catalog for an investment purpose is what I'm going to say.
That's an option.
Yes, that is. There is nothing in here particularly worth it. But no, I'm really struggling. And I tell you what, I'm going to mention this book again just because the writer reached out to me. So what the heck? Blood Run #1 has a good as chance to be worth something in the future as compared to anything else in this catalog. So I'm going to go with Blood Run #1. So as my pick, I'm going to pick up at least a copy. And now that I say that, I may pick up 4 just in case. So there you go. So, all right. We lost you there. We lost you there for a second, Mike.
Okay.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
I just said I knew you could be counted on to come up with something.
Yeah. All right. So, Mike, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, where would they do that at?
Well, it would be either Mike Atchison 5 on Twitter or X or whatever it's being called these days, or our generic catch-all inbox. It's podcast@bergcomics.com, or if you want to send something directly to me, it's m.atchison90@gmail.com.
Shad, what about you?
You can find me on Facebook at Shad Schubert, ShaadSchubert. And of course, check out Shad and Thomas, my band. We've got some music on Spotify and all that good stuff, and upcoming shows.
All right, and I'm Scott Reed. You can find me at bergcomics.com, BURG comics.com, with links to social media, eBay store. And we'll be back soon, Shad, with episode 170. And what is going to be on episode 170?
On 170, we'll be covering The Rocketeer, The Great Race, and the first 5 for Cassandra Cain Batgirl.
All right, excellent. And we'll be back soon.
Well, we just want to start, or do we want to intro? Okay.
I want to say before we got to recording, did I or did I not tell you?
We are recording.
Oh, okay, that's fine. It's not
Okay. Yeah, just make sure what you mean before recording.
I mean, yeah, before official clap time. I went to this shop 2 weeks
Clap
ago.
time. That could be taken wrong.
What? Clap time?
Clap time.
Oh, yeah, the clap.
Take your medicine. We got time to take